Well, good evening, folks. My name is Gary Wimmer. I'm so happy to have all you folks with us tonight. Another Zoom meeting with the Network Austin Mixer. I'm going to start off right off the bat by introducing our core member, Tootie Hall, who's going to go down and introduce the other people and the speakers. Thanks, Tootie. You got it, girl.
Hi everyone, my name is Tootie Hall. I am an actor with acclaimed talent, and I'm also, as Gary said, a core member of the Network Austin Mixer. Some of the things that I do outside of acting, I collect stuffed animals for the Veterans Teddy Bear Project, and I put on veteran shows every November for the patients at the domiciliary, which house veterans who are homeless and have TBI, PTSD, and other addiction issues. And I'll be followed by Denise.
Hello, I'm Denise Garza. I am a core member of the Network Austin Mixer. I'm an actor. I'm with acclaimed talent. I'm also a singer, writer, producer, and yeah, I have my full-time job with the state of Texas also. Michael, you want to introduce yourself before we move on to our guests?
Hi guys, Michael Druck here with Michael Druck Casting. I'm a casting director here in Texas. Proud to be a core member here at the Network Austin Mixer, newly added this year, and great company to be a part of, and welcome our guests too. And I'll hand the ball back to Denise so she can welcome who y'all are here to see this month.
Yes, thank you all for being here. We have two very special guests for us tonight. Our talent agent panel, we have Linda McAlister and Lydia Blanco Garza from Blanco and from Linda McAlister Talent. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just, I'll let them introduce themselves and tell a little bit about them. We're going to do some questions with them, and then we're going to open it up for audience questions. So Lydia, go first.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Like she said, my name is Lydia Blanco Garza. I am the owner and talent agent of the Blanco Agency. We are based in South Texas in the Corpus Christi area, but of course we cover all of Texas and the South Central. We've been around for about 8 years. We're small-ish. We have under 200 actors on our roster, working in commercial, film, TV, print, voiceover, industrials, all the usual, all the usual items. And that is it.
Thank you, Lydia. Linda.
Hi, I'm Linda McAlister, owner and agent of Linda McAlister Talent. I've been an agent. I opened up my office November 1994, so I've been around for 29 years almost. So I have been involved in legislative issues since 1999. One of the creators of Texas Media Production Alliance in 2005, and I have been at this forever. I'm an old poli-sci major person here and became a talent agent. We do, like Lydia, we do represent film, television, commercials, industrials, voiceover. I have opened an office in Los Angeles, but my headquarters is in Texas, and that is my always go-to place. So just happy to be here and always happy to answer questions from actors. And thank you all so much.
If you folks can turn off your mic, we're getting some noise. Please turn off your mic. Bonnie Price. Thank you.
Linda, were you done? I'm sorry.
Turn off. Thank you for turning off your mic.
There we go.
Please keep them off.
I was, is that
Back
me?
to you, Denise.
I was done.
Oh, okay.
Thank you both for being here tonight. I wanted to thank the Texas it's Motion Picture, it's not Motion Picture Alliance.
It's Texas Media Production Alliance. We changed it.
This year did such a great job. I guess they've been working for 2 years tirelessly, and all the Texas agents, including Lydia and Linda. And Linda's been, I'm going to get y'all's names mixed up, I know it. Linda's been on the board of TXMPA, but the agents really encourage talent to write letters, call the legislators, and do what we could to get this unprecedented incentive package passed this session. $200 million for our program. Linda, do you want to say anything else, since you have been instrumental in this program since its inception?
Absolutely. And thank you guys so much, because I think this is something that actors and anyone in the industry, a lot of times we have the show in our hearts, but we don't have the business in our smarts. And I think aside from just focusing on your careers as actors, you have to become involved in what perfects your industry, what makes your industry better. So don't just look after your little, nucleus world in your own agency and in your own life. You've got to make sure that where you live, you take really good care of it. TXMPA has not just worked the last 2 years. They have been working almost 23 years now, since 2005. Oh, I've been at it since 1999. So, it's been a job. But since 2005, when we started this, we formed TXMPA, had a meeting in Austin, voted on the board, and we've changed boards. We used to change boards like every 3 to 4 years. Now we've had the same board for about 5 years, but I think we've needed that cohesiveness. TXMPA works nonstop. We don't just work during session. We work outside of session. We need everyone to be a member, because this is a very expensive endeavor. We found out the board, because we're all business people, the board didn't have time to stop and run to Austin or run to the Capitol or run to a legislator's office. So we had to hire 2 executives. Mindy Raymond was our first executive director, and then Paul Jensen has come on as our executive director with Mindy Raymond as our communications director. These 2 people have been tirelessly our champions and our advocates for this industry. And if it hadn't been for them, it doesn't matter about the agents and everything. If it hadn't been for them stomping you down the halls and knocking on doors, making phone calls, meeting with the lobbyists, meeting with the Texas Film Commission, I sincerely don't think we would have had the $200 million appropriated to us, no matter how hard we all worked. We've got to have advocates in the Capitol at all times, and they were there. So it's not just a every 2 year endeavor. It is a 365 nonstop. I can guarantee you, last year, before the legislature convened in January, we were nonstop at this. So believe me, it is not just in every other year when our legislature meets. So anyway, just kind of wanted to fill everyone in on that. So I hope you're all join TXMPA, please. It's not expensive.
Hey, Donnie Price, can you please mute you? I think you unmuted yourself.
I hit the wrong buttons.
All
Thank you.
good. Thank you. Thanks again, Linda, for that update. Given the incentives and the boost that we should hopefully see, what kind of opportunities would this bring for local actors?
Well, it will obviously increase, and I want Lydia to share in this too. I don't need to talk all the time. So, interrupt me. It will absolutely bring job creation, because unfortunately, with everything, projects going to New Mexico and Louisiana and Georgia and other states, with Oklahoma has just been phenomenal. I mean, they've got a great rebate program too. Our actors are leaving the state. So it's no longer until this year, when we were appropriated 200 million, all these actors are going to other states, and the incentives are based to hire local actors in that state for the actors to invest again in the state. Well, when we've got actors going to other states, they're bringing it back here to reinvest in Texas. Well, now that projects will be going to Texas, they want Texas actors, because the whole point of an investment is to keep the money in Texas, because for every dollar granted to any production, the return of investment is $5.33, which is phenomenal, and it's better than any stock market. And there's no guarantee in the stock market, but you grant $1 to any production, with all the stuff that they buy in Texas, hire, all the crew and the cast that they hire, all the money they spend in Texas is calculated, and they're given back a percentage of that. Well, the more cast and crew they hire out of Texas, the more it invests in Texas and the more rebate money that they will get back in percentages that production will get back. So yes, it will absolutely. Now, I have to admit, it's sometimes kind of hard to get series regulars and the big guest stars because all productions start in LA and New York. So they're looking for the talent that has more of a network, a studio or name or director, kind of if not a star, at least recognizable. So a lot of times they will hire out of LA or New York first and then hire the location casting director in the state they're shooting in to fill in the other roles. Sometimes there are some good guest star roles and recur co-star. So it doesn't mean that we're locked out of the big roles, but let's face it, most of the time they are going to get that. But if we can sustain this 200 million and they get to find out how amazing our talent is and get to know our talent, then the studios and networks and directors will start requesting the Texas talent, not just the LA talent. But this industry is all about relationships. It is all about who you know. A lot of times a Texas actor will say, well, I'm as good as they are. Why don't I have a chance at that? And I'm like, well, because the studio knows them, the networks know them, the director knows them, and they don't know you. So by us having this phenomenal opportunity for appropriations, now hopefully our Texas talent will get the recognition they deserve. And that will be a game changer.
Lydia, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, Linda said it all right there.
I'm sorry,
No, here, take this one. Take this one.
Sure.
And then Linda, chime in if you feel you need to add something. What are the expectations for actors in Texas?
Oh, well, definitely to be professional, to show up on time, to, represent not only the agency as a whole, but Texas actors as a whole. Like once these projects start coming to Texas, these big film projects and TV shows start coming to Texas, all we need is one actor to show up with a chip on her shoulder or a bad attitude. And it's not only going to reflect bad on the actor, it's going to reflect bad on the agency and the entire Texas acting community as a whole. So definitely be professional, show up on time, be prepared, never be lost when you show up on set as far as like not knowing what you're shooting that day or what's needed. So that's definitely what I see is needed. Linda?
Absolutely, Lydia is spot on there, because a lot of times, like especially during the WGA strike and the potential SAG-AFTRA strike that we may be met with later on this month, actors sometimes say, well, I'll just quit classes. There's no reason. No, this is the time for preparation. You never let down your guard. Don't let up your game. Keep going at it, because a lot of times when work starts to hit again, actors are not as fresh as they should be. This is not a 6-week, course of acting and then you're an actor for the rest of your life. This is ongoing training. There's new things that develop. There's new things that acting coaches come up with. There's new techniques. There's new methods. I think actors, instead of I think sometimes actors get a little too married to one acting coach, which is, I know, easy to do, but then it becomes a little too comfortable. Actors need to get out there and find a discomfort. Because who knows what set you're going to be added onto, cast in. What if it's just different? What if it's a tough director? And what are you going to cry to your agent that, oh, I don't like him, he's just too hard? And this is what you prayed for. You want this industry, but you might be careful what you pray for, because it might not always be what you want. So you have to be prepared. Don't say, well, I don't want to do scenes with that actor. No. You go toward things that are risk-taking, challenging. This is not supposed to be a comfy little pillow that we can put our head on and just say, okay, everything is at peace. No, this industry is chaos. And you're a creative artist. Actors need to challenge themselves. And so be at your best all the time. Now, we do understand as agents, and I think Lydia would understand too, that if you're having financial issues, of course, take care of your family first. We're not heartless, you know, take care of your family, pay your bills. And since there is a lot less work in the state now, I mean, agents are still kind of busy because we still have commercials, industrials, voiceover. The strike has only hit the film and television side. But hopefully by the time, you know, the money starts really, you know, now that the governor signed, hopefully the strike will end and we'll have tons of projects in. But, you know, stay at the top of the game. Even if you can't afford classes, get together with other actors, challenge yourself, read books, watch television, watch movies. That's your homework. You know, I love to watch a TV show or a movie, and I've never been an actor. I don't know that process. I am an audience. And that's why I love actors and I admire what they do, because this is not something that's in my DNA. It was not an inherited quality that's in me. So any acting coach can guarantee, I can guarantee you, they cannot make me a good actor. It's not in me.
One of the things I remember our beloved Donnice Hardy saying, I don't remember if it was in a class or something that I was with, you know, just talking to her. She was like, people think that Texas actors, it's a hobby. So we need to make sure that they know when those productions come that it's not a hobby. This is what we want to do. So that's kind of something that has always stuck in my head with Donnice, that she has said, that we don't want people to have that thought, you know, when the time comes, which should always be, right? Because I mean, we've had some big stuff shooting here, and now there's just going to be more opportunities, I hope. So yeah, fingers crossed. Linda, you mentioned, you alluded to the possible SAG-AFTRA strike. How do you think this is going to affect the industry in Texas? You know, we've got the WGA strike going on right now, and then we've got the SAG-AFTRA strike, which we're hoping won't happen, but you know.
Well, it will definitely impact productions coming in now. Texas, I know I get tickled at a lot of actors because they say, I need to move to LA because there's more union work. Well, yeah, there's a lot of union work, but there is a lot more non-union work, even in LA. I am a member of Association of Talent Agents, meaning I'm AFTRA Legacy franchised. ATA works hand in hand with SAG-AFTRA. I doubt, I'm going to just say this, I doubt SAG-AFTRA would be striking if WGA hadn't struck, because I think they were just kind of not, the last time they're not real aggressive sometimes in their strike and negotiations unless there's another union striking. Because let's face it, sometimes the producers are like, no, you know, you take it or leave it. And let's face it, you know, sometimes the SAG and AFTRA want their actors working. WGA, they're ready to go broke on it. Sometimes the actors aren't. So I think it's going to be kind of dicey, because here we have this wonderful $200 million in appropriation, but we've got strikes in us. DGA has come to an agreement, which hopefully can help WGA and SAG-AFTRA. But I hope SAG-AFTRA can come to the negotiating table without striking and come to a great deal, because I support them as long as it's going to benefit the actors and they're not going to sell out to the producers. And that's why I do support the WGA, even though it is hurting the industry, because a lot of like a Landman, that Setco just sent out a breakdown for the, I believe, Bob Thornton, Taylor Sheridan show, Landman. And it's an old script before the strike. So hopefully it will not be picketed, but hardly, most of the pickets are in LA and New York. So hopefully they won't shut down. And I honestly wish they wouldn't shut down pre-approved scripts that aren't asking for revisions. You can't, with a strike, you can't ask for a revision or new scripts going on. But this is all before the strike. So hopefully we'll be able to get that going. And she has sent out a good breakdown on that. And it's been casting in LA too. So, but yeah, it's the SAG-AFTRA. It's gonna shut the union members down and all union work, because that's going to hit the celebrities and the names. And so, yeah, it will have a devastating impact too. But if it's needed, then the members, you know, definitely voted on it and apparently feel like it's needed, unless negotiations can come through for them. Strikes aren't fun, but sometimes needed.
Yeah. Lydia, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm good. She's got it all.
Talk too much, Lydia. Just jump in there. Jump in there.
Lydia, what is some advice you have for some of the new actors who might be watching us tonight? What should they be doing before they submit to your agency?
Oh, I love an actor who does some research. They know who they're submitting to. They know their market. They know how they fit in their market. You know, and I don't even require like professional headshots right out the gate. You know, if you come to me and you're like, I already know these shows are shooting in Texas and this is how I'll fit in what capacity, and I've already looked at your roster and this is how I fit in your roster. Like if they've already done all of their homework and they know how they're going to be booking work, that makes my job easier, because half the time when I interview an actor and I said, well, what type of roles do you see yourself playing? 99% of the time they say, I can play everything. And I'm like, of course, you're supposed to. Like, yes, but I need to know, how are you going to be booked? Like, how will you be booked? And it's important for you to know that. And so when actors come with at least that kind of insight, it makes my job so much more easier.
So you had mentioned too that you don't necessarily need someone to have the professional headshots yet when they submit to you. Is that because you like to help them pick headshots and give them?
Yeah, and give recommendations of actual headshot photographers that specialize in actor headshots. Sometimes they like to, you know, get Joe Schmo who specializes in family portraits to do their headshot, or my mom has a really good camera, let me go to the backyard and take my shots, and they're just not what we need for the industry. So if somebody is talented, if they're driven, if they've done their homework, if they're training and they're sharp and they're good, and all they're missing is a good headshot, that's easy to take care of. It's all the other stuff that's hard to teach, you know?
Yeah. What about their resume? If somebody has some really good experience when it comes to theater or training, but haven't really booked a lot of work theatrically, how do you feel about that?
You know, I love theater. I mean, I came from theater, so theater is my background, and I recognize, you know, that in another actor for sure. You know, as long as somebody is actively trying to build that resume, you know, if there's 5 short student films on there, they're actively trying to build that resume. That gives me an insight into who they are, versus I just decided to do this one day, can you represent me? And they have 0 credits and they don't, you know, they haven't taken an acting class, nothing. I get that a lot. So as long as I see some kind of goal, whether it's community theater, whether it's student films, whether it's self-submissions on indie films, whatever they're doing to try to build that experience will only make it easier for me, for sure.
Awesome. Linda, do you have anything to add to what Lydia said about those kinds of submissions?
Absolutely. Lydia is totally right on that. What I also like to see, again, I don't ask for professional shots right off the bat, because you can get professional shots and one agent loves them, another agent hates them, and they're so expensive. So let's just get something decent to kind of show you off, or, you know, it should be a current shot at least, and try to make it as professional looking. But I also want to see a demo reel. It does not have to be paid professional work, but I do not read talent across the table. I want to see what you look like on the medium that I'm submitting you for, on a demo, on digital, on the, you know, whatever. And again, just like Lydia said, student films, independent films that they've gotten off Actors Access. You know, if you've been with a previous agent and you've gotten some kind of work, I don't care. Make sure you at least have a 1 minute. Well, not everybody's going to have comedy. Drama seems to be the most prevalent, especially in Texas, but I love to see a 1 minute comedy, 1 minute drama. And I have a little different take on some of this stuff. I kind of like, as agents, I kind of feel like we're supposed, our job is to, for new actors, this goes for new and seasoned actors. Agent's job is to get you beyond your headshot, beyond your resume, and beyond your demo reel. I want my actors taking risks. If, you know, I don't typecast. You do have to know specifics about your strengths, but also another thing is I want them to take risks. I want them to try something. When you sign a new actor, there's this learning curve that we're all going through about, well, you don't know their full strength until they've been out to auditions or self-tapes. The good thing about self-tapes is now agents get to see all of their auditions, all of their work, which is incredible. Instead of biting nails and wondering, oh my gosh, I hope they're doing okay in their audition, we actually get to see what they're doing now. And that's amazing because we can get some input and, we might get it. So it's so subjective. But I want actors to take chances. I'll throw them in a role that, maybe they don't fit, but they fit physically in the breakdown that maybe they haven't shown that in their resume and their demo reel. I want them to try. Then after a while, if it doesn't resonate and that's just not something that's clicking with them, we'll move on past that. But I think actors, if they say, oh, I'm not good at comedy, get in improv. Make yourself good at comedy, because you don't want to just be a dramatic actor. Now, if comedy is not going to be your forte, fine, but don't not try for it. At least take a chance. You're a creative artist. At least give yourself the tools and find, go out there and hone some of these skills. Improv is, to me, one of the most amazing classes you can take. And that transcends drama and comedy. It's good for commercials, film, television. It's good for life, for industrials, for speaking engagements, because it gets you out of that actory head instead of just memorizing lines. You're actually listening. So I hope I haven't. I talk a lot.
I have one more question before I get to some of the audience questions. Lydia, what does an agent do on a day-to-day basis? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? Because I mean, those who don't know me, I'm married to Jason from Acclaim, so I know what he does on a day-to-day basis. But other folks may not know, and so like y'all's input.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because I would love to ask every agent what they do on a day-to-day basis, because it's different for all of us, and just the differences between our two agencies. I mean, Linda's been around for many years, and she probably has a lot of support, help. So her day is going to look completely different than mine. I wear a lot of the hats with my agency. So my day doesn't have a set time, beginning or end. I'm checking emails at 6 when I wake up, and checking emails at 10:30 right before I go to bed, and responding to people and getting text messages. And I'm also viewing audition videos and submissions when people send them to me. I am doing accounts payable and receivable, making sure invoices are being sent out and being paid. I am checking auditions. I'm submitting all day long, and I'm making sure that people's materials are in order, making sure the new people that came on board have everything they need to get off on the right foot. So it's a lot. It's different every single day. Very, very different every single day. And there is I'm a lot at this desk, a lot on the computer, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Very exciting. I do scout sometimes. I mean, there are days, there are times where I go out, out of town. I'm going to New York next week. I was in LA in January. I go all over the place. I scout all over Texas as well. So I get invited to certain things. So I definitely have days where it mixes up the monotony and I get to see live in action the actors perform. But for the most part, my day in and day out is sitting right here in front of this computer. Well,
thank you for taking the time to be with us. Well, I mean, I just know that, we always tell actors, you've got to do it because you love it, right? Because there's so much rejection. Agents have to love what they do because it's just hard. It's, it's just a hard job. And I just hope that everybody, if you're not represented yet, and you reach out to these ladies or any of the agents that we have here in Texas who are phenomenal, just remember that they do really work hard. So, Linda, do you have anything to add about what you do on a day-to-day basis? I know, you do have a few more staff.
Listen, I remember those days, Lydia. Yeah, 29 years has been a long time, but yeah, it was a one-woman shop there for a long time. I currently do have 6 other assistants working for me. So I'm a little bit easier, but that also creates more work. And I get a little tickled with actors because especially the new actors sometimes don't understand that agents aren't just, we're not just sitting there clicking and submitting and just, no, it takes a lot of work. We don't pick an actor and then go out and try to find that actor work. We've got breakdowns coming in, and even during the strike, we still have a lot of breakdowns coming in. Now, a lot of them are theater. I don't always submit on theater. I am now for those that I know want to do theater, even though it's not really paying anything, because I want my actors still out there. I want them still, with something to do. And it also kind of gets me, it kind of keeps me focused. But mostly there's a lot of commercial stuff. I've got 2 commercial agents. I've got a voiceover agent. I have an assistant in LA. We only do film and TV in LA. I've got a social media person. So yeah, we've got a lot of, of things going on, and I'm right smack in the middle of all of that. So I do spend my time negotiating contracts, reading through contracts, doing a lot of like business affairs. Like if I have a series regular, I have to deal with the business offices of the studios and the network. So it gets a little, it can be a little challenging. So a lot of actors don't understand that until they make money, we're working for free. And I know a lot of people think, oh, Linda, you've got 6 people. You must be. And I'm like, well, I'm doing well. I'm not going to be rich, doing this, but I'm paying my bills. It's been good. But the reason we're doing this is to support our wonderful talent, but it's also a job for us. So we want our actors working. We want, I don't want it to be, we're working 90% and they're only working 10%. No, we're only getting 10%, 15 or 20% out of all the work the actors are doing. And sometimes I feel like we're working harder than they are. So this can't be so one-sided. I got really tickled because there was a casting director a long time ago that used to be an agent. She's still here in Texas, and all of you would know her, but I can't say her name. But she said when she was an agent, she said she kept having actors saying, oh, listen, I'm having some money problems. Do I have to pay you agent fee for this? And she's like, okay, how about this? How about we'll have a special contract for you? How about you keep 100% of all the jobs you get yourself, and I'll keep 100% of all the jobs the agency gets you. Let's see how that works. Oh, and they backed off. They're like, okay, oh, sorry. I'm under a thunderstorm watch. Anyway, so that kind of shut that down. So I kind of bring up that fun little story because it's like, yeah, you know what? This is a teamwork. This is team effort. So sometimes sitting here, especially during the pandemic, I kept all of my assistants. So I'm very resourceful. I'm very frugal. I have a backup plan, but a lot of times it's like, okay, I've got payroll. There goes my retirement. So, but we're just like the actors. We're out there hustling. We don't sit on our laurels. We're out there, going to plays. I go to as many screenings as I can. I do fly to LA. I've got an office there. Well, unfortunately, they're letting us all work out of our homes and offices. So I've got my apartment there, thank goodness. So I don't have to pay rent anymore. But it's still a very challenging world because think about it. If you currently have an agent, all of you, and it's slow in the industry, think of what your agent is going through, because this is also our business. So even though it's slow during the strike, it's still a lot for us to keep up with, and we've got high overhead. So we're just like the actors, just probably a little more overhead. So we're right there with you guys.
Thank you both. We have had some questions come in the chat. A reminder to now that we're going to open it up for questions, raise your hand so we can see who has questions, but we're going to try to get to the ones that we've had in the chat. This one's for Lydia. For veteran actors, what are your thoughts on actors who want to make a move to another agency, perhaps yours? What advice do you have for them?
Well, definitely make sure your contract is up first. Sometimes people forget that little tidbit of important information and will submit while they're already under contract with somebody else. And then to know why you want to make the move. Sometimes people feel like their current agent isn't doing anything for them, so they've got to jump ship quickly and find another agent who might get more success for them. But it just may be a slow time for your type. It might be a slow time for the business. It might be this month might be nothing but 14 to 16-year-olds and nothing for the 21 to 23, you know, so it ebbs and flows. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And it's definitely going to take a lot of patience. I mean, I've been in your shoes. I used to be an actor way back when, and I remember the tumbleweeds that would flow through my acting career. I would get some great jobs, and then all of a sudden it flatlined, and I thought, okay, that's it. I'm never going to work again. But then it would, you know, the next job would come. And so it's not a linear journey. It's definitely, you know, ups and peaks and valleys. So just know why you're wanting to make a move. If it feels like you're just not meshing with your agent, that's one thing, you know, but if it's because you're not getting enough work, then maybe evaluate a little bit more.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
We have a question from someone who had to drop off, but we told her that we would make sure we got it recorded. So Lydia or Linda, if any of you want to take this. We have someone who's interested to bring her stage play to Texas. I think it was Linda had mentioned something about submitting people for theater. She asked about grants and funding. I don't know if that has to do with with our incentive program. And then also, what are the demographics of the theater community? Which of your folks that you have who express interest in doing theater?
I have a lot of actors that love to do theater. I don't always like when we are full blown going into full breakdowns and everything, I really don't submit on theater because that's that most people can sign up for general auditions. Now, as far as the grant program for plays and stage productions, this does not involve Texas Media Production Alliance or Texas Motion Picture Industry Incentive Program, the TMIP program. We're not including stage in that. It's strictly media, on camera, video games, voiceover. So I hopefully later on, I'm hoping that we can include that in our incentive bill for job creation, and because I think stage is amazing. It's the start of this whole industry. I've got probably half of my agency have been stage actors or are stage actors. I love that instant gratification. I love the discipline it takes to be a stage actor. Even though I'm not putting them on that, if they get paid, I don't take any commission on stage work. They don't get paid enough. It's a lot of sacrifice. It does get in the way of on-camera film and television. So we have to be very careful about that. But I just encourage my actors, hey, let's, try not to do 3 or 4 plays a year because rehearsals are eating up all that time. But if that's really what their heart wants to, then I think they should take a hiatus and, go do that for a while. But there are grant programs out there. I'm sorry. I think they should probably call the Actors Equity Theaters first, and probably get some ideas on the grant program. Some of them offer grant programs. So that might, by contacting the theaters directly.
Okay. Lydia, do you have anything to add?
Not about bringing a play to Texas and producing it. I wouldn't be able to add to that. But I mean, I actively submit for theater. So I had an actor work for the Alley Theater just last month. From New York, though, that's the thing. It's like they do these professional shows here in Texas, but they're flying them in from New York to do it. So, I am actively submitting. I do want Texas actors to book the, theater houses here in Texas, but, you can't control that. All you can do is try and find the work for them.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question for either one of you. I've been turned down by so many agencies because they already have my type. I'm early 40s, female, blonde. How do I differentiate?
Well, I can, that's a tough one. You've got to be true to yourself. And unfortunately, the supply and demand will never equal out. We're always going to have a lot more supply than demand in this industry. And diversity is key. Diversity is key in the industry, which is great. So unfortunately, the blondes are left out a lot because they're looking for more diverse, mixed ethnicities, and sadly, just keep at it. You never know. I just recently signed a woman in her 50s that was a blonde, and encouraged her to let her hair go a little more natural gray. She kept bleaching it out, and she's working a lot more now. And she's Anglo too. But it's not anything you can help on that end. Don't get discouraged by it. It's kind of like if you never had an agent before, sometimes it might be just lack of materials. Keep keep the self-submissions going, because even if you'd be surprised how many people I have found at stage productions going to a play and didn't intend to look for any actors and found an amazing actor. So you can't give up on that. Another thing I suggest people do is volunteer for film festivals, volunteer for industry events, get your face out there, not just as a headshot and a resume and a demo reel, but make sure you have good headshots that are eye-popping. Put your resume together as the best you can, but also I highly recommend a demo reel. It doesn't have to be an expensive produced one, just a 1 minute of something, anything, just even audition videos. If you could just put something together that we can see what you can do without reading at you across the table, because how you look on camera is very different from live. So just don't give up. My heart breaks for actors that can't find agents, because again, I wish we could take on the world, but Lydia and I, we can't. There's just, again, more supply than demand. But don't give up. Maybe multitask, look into writing, look into crew, look into set design, look into something else to put you in the position to be in this industry. Maybe it's not acting.
I would say to you just haven't found your right fit yet, because not every agent has an influx of 40s blondes. I don't. I'm just saying, so sometimes it's just not, you got turned down by a few agents, but it doesn't mean that every agent has an influx of what you are, of what your type. So just keep looking until you find the right type. Keep to the right fit, keep submitting to those agencies, look at those rosters and see if there's not anybody like you, and keep submitting. I mean, you'll find your home soon.
Thank you for that. I'm going to go to some of the people who have their hands up. Juliana?
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to give a quick shout out to Lydia. She is amazing. She is my agent. I am so thankful you signed me. All the things that you guys said about not having a great headshot, but having experience and just like being ready to go, that was me, and she saw it. So thank you. I love her. So thankful. So about being cast as a co-star and a guest star, it's a dream. That's the dream, to start getting noticed in networks, start getting noticed for producers and directors. Let's say, for example, a big show, XYZ, comes to Texas, and it's between me and somebody against type, me, or somebody in LA. And I know like they want somebody who's like known, but how likely is it that somebody's gonna go, it's just this girl, it's Juliana, it's that girl. How likely is it that when shows start coming that people like me can like really compete against people from LA, do you think? And any advice?
Well, real quick, I'll just say very likely, because when they're shooting their shows here in Texas, it's the co-stars that get flooded with the Texas talent. They're not flying anybody in from LA for, a 2-line role or anything like that. So in that respect, very highly likely that you'll have a good shot at those co-stars. Guest stars, a little bit tougher. You have to be the best of what they've seen in Texas and who they're willing to fly out from LA. Same thing with series regulars. It's not unheard of. I know plenty of actors here in Texas that have booked guest star and series regulars here in Texas, have never moved to another market. They just were the best out of what they've seen, so just, it goes along with being prepared, keep training, make sure that your skill level is so up to par that they can't say no to you, Linda?
Yes, I definitely, absolutely. I've had quite a few actors that were blessed to read for a small role, and then the director and producers loved them so much on a TV show, they actually put them in a role that was supposed to go to an LA actor. So it absolutely can happen. Plus, remember this, you're incentivizing them because you're in Texas. And now that we have this 200 million, it benefits them to have you here. Even if they have to, like, let's say it's shooting in Dallas, but you're down in San Antonio or Corpus Christi or something. They will pay your expenses to fly, especially on the big budget shows. They'll pay your expenses to come up to Dallas, put you in a hotel, per diem. Sometimes we can negotiate, especially on a larger role. We can negotiate. Sometimes we'll have to stay with scale plus 10, but it's worth it. But yes, absolutely. That's the whole thing about creating more work for Texas actors is the incentive program. And also because Texas is known to have some amazing talent here. A lot of studios have already told the Texas Film Commission, and we've heard it from the TXMPA side that, hey, we know you guys have amazing actors because the road to LA is paved with amazing Texas talent. So just think on it that way. But no, it's absolutely doable. And it's going to be more co-stars, but there's some pretty nice co-stars. And don't look at that. You know, I've had quite a few actors who booked some really nice roles going out for co-stars, and then they kept bringing them back. So.
Thank you. And I also heard too, you know, if you get a co-star, you're probably going to be in the scene with the lead. So that's something to think about too. Cody, you have a question?
Yeah, hi there. This question is for either Linda or Lydia. First off, thank you for all you do and everything you've done for film in Texas. I want to be a Texas actor through and through. What are things that we can do as actors to get our faces in front of the networks, directors, producers that are in LA and New York that are casting for those recurring roles? Thank you.
I'll jump in on that because I do have an office in LA. Again, this industry is based on relationships. First, you've got to be known in your own state. You've got to be known in your own area. I think the biggest mistake actors make is they think they can just move to LA because that's where all the work is. They move to New York, that's where all the work is. They just, you know, it's hard enough being an actor in the state you live in. So the worst thing you can do is assume that you just want to make that big old jump from, you know, preschool. Let's just go ahead and graduate college. Let's get up there and see the network studios and the producers and the direct. It doesn't work that way. You have got to make a presence and get yourself known in this industry. It's not impossible, but as an LA agent, I didn't open my LA office to sign Texas actors. I hate to say that. I do have a few Texas actors that moved there. I opened my office in LA because I had some LA actors from Texas that wanted LA representation. I opened my office there. So all of my LA people are LA based. They work incredibly hard. They will show up at the opening of an envelope. They will show up, they'll be seat warmers at the Oscars and the Emmys. They will go to a film festival. They will host, they will offer to pick up a movie star at the airport to take them to a screening. It's getting your face in front of people in rather unorthodox ways. The projects in LA and New York aren't necessarily looking for people outside of LA and New York. They, just like Texas, they'd rather cast local. And I can guarantee you can break your bank account by trying to say, oh, I can work local hire anywhere. That's actually not true, especially knowing that so many states have incentives now, and it doesn't benefit them to hire you from LA to Texas or Tennessee to, you know, Michigan, if you're not a resident in that area. Even California has its incentives. They do have incentives there. Now, the reason they want to bring in people from LA to Texas is because of their recognizability, their name, your celebrity status, because it's going to bring an audience into the show. A lot of actors say, well, I'm as good as this actor. Yeah, but nobody knows you. That's not an insulting comment. That's just reality. It's just like, you're going to go with who you know, what their talent is, what they were a hit on this show. Their marketability. So that's what you have to remember. First, focus on Texas and surrounding. Get your name built up here, because when you book out of Texas and it's an LA production, you actually don't just have to get approved by Beth Setpo and the production and the director here. You also get approved by the LA casting director, and it goes right through their offices. So the LA casting directors and New York casting directors are the main casting directors for productions coming into Texas, but the regional casting directors also have a huge say-so in that. But the LA ones, they still have to go through LA. So I recommend get to know, do your hard work here in Texas. Don't strive for those stars right away. You've got to bring something to LA. LA has everything, and they've seen everything.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Linda.
You're welcome.
Thank you both. Michael, you have a question?
Well, I love that both Linda and Lydia are both proud stage moms in their own right. You got Scarlett and you have your daughter, Lydia. I love seeing photos of both and updates and all that good stuff. And so I saw the giggles. I love that. But that being said, because you are moms and you are moms in the industry, what golden or what general advice do you have for parents navigating their kids' career? Let's just say starting at the beginning. Just in general, like what is the best advice you could give right now?
I would say let them lead you. Sometimes it's hard when the parent wants it for the kid more so than what the kid wants. Because I see the difference definitely when I meet the kids, when I talk to the kids, when they're very personable and they're excited and they're engaging and they're mature enough in a sense to get directed by a director, like certain things that I look for when I look for work for kids when I bring them on. And then you have the others that just, the mom is like, stand there, answer her question, do this, do that. And it's like, do they really want to do this? And so I always say, let them lead. Like for my daughter, she's 11 now. We started her off, I think her first audition was her first commercial that she booked at 3 years old. And she was great. She went in, nailed it, 3 years old. At about 4 or 5, she all of a sudden got shy. She didn't want to do it anymore. She's like, okay, we're not going to do it. And then like at 7, she's like, I want to do it again. So we brought her back in and had her do some more auditions. And then like at 9, she all of a sudden got shy and self-conscious. So she didn't want to do it. And so she, I just let her lead. When she feels like she's excited and she wants to do it, then, we're on the right track for sure.
Absolutely, Lydia, you're spot on. I never had children that wanted to be in the industry. My oldest daughter became an actress at 15. So that's kind of, and it was like a year later before I decided to become an agent, and she'd been booking things and I'm like, how hard is this? She's booking stuff, yay. And then I became an agent. I'm like, holy crap, this is hard, so no. But yes, just like Lydia said, let them tell you. Don't advocate for what you want. Don't live vicariously through your child, because that's child abuse. I have seen that too many times, and I've had to let go of children that you could tell they were so unhappy. And it's the saddest thing in the world. Like Lydia said, let that child determine. I didn't even want my daughter to be an actor. I grew up with my dad owned a drive-in theater, an indoor theater. I wanted to be a producer. I didn't want to be a talent agent. Now I love it. I'm where I'm supposed to be. But my daughter at 15, I made her go to all of her own, pay for her own classes, go to the casting director workshops. I mean, that was back in the early 90s before the internet. So it was Jane Sumner's Arts and Entertainment and the Dallas Morning News. I am dating myself and my daughter because he's been at it for, 25 years now, almost 30 years. But it definitely is. It can be a tragic situation especially if the child is felt like, okay, I'm not doing enough, I'm not booking, I'm not, just keep supporting them, keep championing them, keep advocating for them, but as long as they want to do it. Lydia's spot on.
Thank you. Jose.
Sorry, trying to find the unmute. Linda and Lydia, thank you guys for all the answers that you've been providing or all the information providing. Lydia is mine. I'm actually with the Blanco Agency, which freaking fantastic. But I guess the question is, how do you, or what's the proper way to ask for feedback? Because if you're getting auditions and you're doing well, they usually just go in the direction of who they're going to go with, which is great. But to get better, how else? Like, how do you learn without, besides classes, all that stuff? How can you learn with, how do you ask for feedback? You have it, I don't know if that's the right way to ask it, but yeah, how do you ask for feedback?
Oh, I hate to give you answers that you don't want to hear. I hate it. I mean, it's hard. This industry moves so fast, and nobody has the time. Like the casting directors, if I had to call John Williams and be like, hey, that audition, those 20 auditions I sent you, can you sift through them and then let me know how that actor did in his audition? He's going to be like, dude, I don't have time for that, right? It's like I have to just kind of get through, pick the ones that stand out, move them, get them booked, and get to the next project. You know, and for us too, it's hard. It's like, for me, what I do is when I see the actors, when they start turning in the auditions and they're solid, when I feel like, oh yeah, I can trust that I can have it go direct to casting and they'll nail it every time, then, you know, unless you ask me and say, hey, can you look at my last audition that I just turned in? I would love for you to tell. And if you reach out to me to do that and I'm able to, and I'm not going crazy that day with the million balls that I'm juggling in the air, I'd be happy to stop and go, you know what, that was really good. I don't know why you didn't get a call back. Or, all right, well, let me tell you what I saw that you could have done better. But honestly, feedback should happen in the acting class. When you go to acting class and you get that acting coach and you're working on that craft, they're giving you the feedback that you need to better prepare yourself for the auditions that you nail, and then you let it go like a bird. You trust that it's going to fly, and if it takes you where you want to go, then great. And if it doesn't, it wasn't for you, and you move on to the next one.
I totally agree. On this feedback, this is one of the things we always so much want to give actors. And just like Lydia said, if we're watching a spectacular tape, we'll immediately reach out to the actor and say, this was incredible. You know, we're not going to say, oh, you probably won't get it. I'm not, you know, no, we want them to get it. So we're going to throw that good old, you know, karma out there. But when an actor doesn't get it, what I always tell them is, look, they saw 200 people for this role. What if 200 people aced it and gave a spectacular performance? They can still only pick one. So the whole, and feedback also goes to, you know, listen to the agent, listen to the acting coach, but also if that casting director keeps calling you back, that is great feedback. And Michael can probably relate to that too, because they're not going to call you back if you're a pain in the butt and you're not listening and taking direction. So it's the listening and taking direction. And yeah, so we want feedback for you guys too.
Just thank you. That was a great question. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. No, that's perfect.
Alexis.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for putting this together. And opening it up to people who, like me, are not represented yet. I have a question that kind of goes back to something that Linda had said earlier about joining crew. And I put it in the chat notice before I raised my hand, but does it look good if you have worked crew to agencies? Is that something that you want to include on your actor's resume?
Absolutely. It looks amazing. For one thing, that it shows you're used to a set, whether it's a college production, professional production. I've got actors that have been volunteer PAs on a more low budget production, but it puts you behind the scenes. It gives you a rich view of, you're not just the focal point of, you know, the camera. You're now working behind the scenes, and you have a greater appreciation for productions too. And also I encourage my actors to help casting directors, help them in readings, help them do things like that. It's not a guarantee of an audition or a booking or anything, because the casting directors don't book. They help bring you in, but they're not the final word on the bookings. So help the casting directors sign up to do, sometimes it's going to be free work. One of my assistants used to be, she's my film and TV agent in Texas that helps me with it. She used to be a casting assistant for Brock Allen Casting. And it really gave her amazing insight to transfer over to the agency world. So, I mean, she's got incredible insight on that. And she can also share with the actors, oh, you booked that? Oh yeah, I worked with them on this and this and this. And yes, this is, the production. I mean, it gives you just a more worldly view of it. So yes, please do not worry about that. Write, direct. I've got actors that are now directing. So anything you can do in this industry, I think it is incredibly, it just promotes you to a higher level instead of just your little actory world. Yes.
I have a little bit of a different take, a little bit of a different take on it. I mean, I 100% agree with her as far as do everything that you can. I love the idea of reading for a casting director. I mean, gosh, if you're able to nag one of those jobs, that's a very helpful one for you as an actor. Definitely do background work, go do production work, crew, makeup, hair, do all of that. But I personally do not feel it belongs on an acting resume. Like if it's on your business resume, if you want to let me know, hey, I have all this on-set experience doing crew, being production assistant or something, that's great. But as far as because I get some of those resumes and I'm like, it shouldn't be on here. Just like featured background shouldn't be on your resume. Just like, you doing hair and makeup for 20 commercial productions shouldn't be on your resume. It needs to be solely your acting experience, whether it's theater, your acting classes, your training, your film, television, a web series, like anything else that you can put on your resume that shows you as an actor, as talent in front of the camera would be more helpful in my eyes.
Well, I think I should have clarified that. Put it on special skills. You don't put it in your resume, but on special skills.
There you go.
That you have worked PA or worked hair and makeup. That's but I agree, totally agree with Lydia. It should not belong on your act.
And I agree with Linda. Yes, special skills.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Thank you. And there was a question that popped up in the chat, so I hope that you saw that when Lydia said not to put, or she doesn't want people to put featured background on resumes. Somebody had asked about background that popped up. So let's see, we have one more person with a hand up, or two people because Gary's got his hand up, and one more that came in on chat. So, and I know it's 8:04, so hopefully just a couple more minutes if you guys have just a few more minutes. Okay, Micah.
Hi, can you hear me? Are we?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, you can hear me. Okay, all right. Geez, I got to sort through because I had several questions. So I'm just going to ask my first one. First off, I'm represented by Lydia, and it's such an amazing opportunity to work with her. I feel very well taken care of, and go Blanco Agency, because I really appreciate being a part of that team. So first question here is, how would you advise an actor to approach building a lucrative commercial career? And is investing time into film and TV a strategic approach to pay off for commercial work?
Well, I'll go ahead and chime in there, and congratulations, Lydia. He sounds like he's wonderful. Commercials are kind of the burger flipping job of the thing. You pretty much, the thing about the secret to commercials, I don't ask everybody to take a whole bunch of commercial classes. I'll say do some improv for your commercial class. Mainly you've got to learn to listen and take direction. It's so fast, and you never really know what they want. And sometimes they don't know what they want until they see it, just like any other casting. But I think just the lucrative commercial career, it's like, who knows what they want until we get the breakdown. So sometimes they'll want a long-haired biker look. Normally the long-haired biker looks are not your normal commercial look. So, again, just like you would on your film and TV side, just listen, take direction, make sure you have a good assortment of headshots that look more the commercial type, but also for the film and TV type. Personally, I don't differentiate between film and TV headshots and commercial headshots. I've used as much commercial headshots for comedies and lighter storylines than I have on the dark. So it's not just we're doing this serious look for film and TV. The commercial headshot goes great, but you've got to have a good assortment of emotions and stuff so that they can see your lighthearted side. Are you going to be able to sell that product, sell that company? So it's like saying how to be a success in the film and TV side, pretty much the same way. It's just called preparation and just be prepared and listen and take direction. Also, research what you're reading for. What product are you reading for? What company are you're trying to sell on that? Even for film and TV, research the director, research the television show, research the network. Most networks have their little unique kind of brand that they like the CW and FX and, you know, HBO and Nano. So do your research on any that's going for commercials and across it. Don't just read your copy and read the breakdown. Look at the director, even a commercial director, look him up. Almost every film and TV director has started out doing commercials. So that's kind of their segue into trying to get to the film and TV side. Steven Spielberg did commercials, you know, Ridley Scott and his brother Tony Scott, they started out Great Scott Productions doing commercials. So do your research. That is the best way to be successful in anything, is knowing what you're going into instead of going in and saying, I have no idea what this is about. With the onset of the internet, you can Google it away or Bing it away or whatever, Firefox it away, whatever you want to do, and get to know all of this incredible intrinsic information that can help you in anything. So research, really important.
I would say too, it's a numbers game. I mean, when I look at the actors that book the most commercially for our agency, it's the actor that's always available. It's the actor that never turns down an audition. It's an actor that's always on top of their appointments and they're turning them in on time or early. Like those people are the ones that see the success because it's a numbers game. It's like if you turn in 25 auditions, maybe you'll book 3 versus if you turn in 2, you know, your odds might be stacked against you. So.
Yeah, Lydia brought up a really good point because I've got some actors that, you know, have had to turn down like 3/4 of their, I have to have a long talk with them because, right, if you're not available, that's fine, but it's not going to work in this industry. So, you know, try to make yourself available. If you're having financial issues and you have to take a full-time job or you booked yourself on a play, I think one of the most important things is communication. Someone brought this up with changing agents. I think that was mentioned, and you know, and Lydia and I were talking about that. I think one of the most important things is communication with your agent. Don't think your agent isn't submitting you, but we also need to know, like, we don't need to know your personal life. We don't need to know that you've had a death in the family. We just need to know that you're going through a really hard time. We're not heartless. We do care. You take some time off, take a hiatus, because this business does not sleep. Even during a writer's strike, there is stuff going on, commercials and voiceover and everything else. And we've booked a lot of that even during the slower time. But stay in touch with your agent. Don't assume that because you're not going out, your agent has forgotten you. That's absolutely not true. We've got you in our agencies for a reason. We want to help you with your career. We want you to make money because that's the only thing keeping us going, is your booking is helping us. But we love seeing your successes and seeing your dreams come true. So stay in touch with your agent. It sounds like Lydia is amazing for communication. We also in my agency want good communication. If we don't reply to your email, my cell phone is posted on my website. Everybody knows my cell. I mean, I must have lost my mind doing, but you'd be surprised how many people don't take advantage of it. And if it's a number is a little dicey, then I won't answer it. I'll wait for them to leave a voicemail, but I want to answer everybody's questions. I want people to know. So, you know, respond to, you know, let your agent know what's going through your mind. If there's something, if you need to book out, if you're booked on a play, don't just assume we're reading your mind. So please communicate with that agent. And if I have anyone coming from another agent that says, well, my agent, I'm not going out, I'm like, I'm going to advocate for that agent and say, what have you done to communicate with your agent? What are you doing? Don't blame your agent. What are you doing for your career? What are you doing to assist your agent? So I know I kind of got off track. on that.
Micah, did you want to ask a follow-up or,
Oh,
because I know we
yeah,
will have
yeah.
more to go, so I just wanted to check with you.
Okay, yeah, no, I had a follow-up question on, you know what, I'm gonna skip that one and do casting family units, because I had learned my first commercial, I learned that typically for when you're casting a family for a commercial, they usually cast the kids first and then pair parents. They typecast the parents that would look like the kids. And so I got into work with these two kid actors and got along really well with them. They told me that I was their favorite fake dad that they'd had. Moving forward from that, how would it go about continuing to work with them, because they got a different agency, but clearly if it's like, if we continue to work together and find kids to work together, then that's work for everyone that goes around, right? But I don't know, that idea just came to me. It was like, it would be cool to work with those kids. We got along well, and yeah, so I'm rambling now, but I hope you got the idea of my question.
No, I mean, it's actually kind of hard to do if they're in different agencies, right? So I've got a girl who her husband sometimes will book work with her and her kids will, but sometimes he has to work. So within my agency, she's like, I've had a husband with this other guy within the agency, so you could submit us as a family next time the husband has to work. So that's a little bit easier to do, to go, hey, these have booked as a family. They they look great to get together, but the hard part is when they're coming from
different agents.
Yeah, different agent. There's just no way to control that. So it's just one of those things of maybe you'll just get lucky that you look so much like the kid that every time you guys get submitted on the same project at the same time, that maybe those producers and executives will agree and put you together. But it's not anything we can control.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes that goes against you because another commercial may not want a matching family that's been on an opposite commercial, even if they aren't competitive or anything. Sometimes it doesn't really work out that way. And a lot of times, I mean, I get kind of tickled because it's always like, well, tell your actors to bring their kids in. Well, they hardly ever book the real kids and the real parents. And, Lydia probably has been through this too. It's like, okay, they have got a smattering of family from all over Texas and they aren't even real family. But yet my couple, the husband and wife came in with their 5 kids and they still booked 2 of the kids and the dad and not the mom. And the mom was the only actor in the bunch. So you never know. You just never know. And then she, they never booked the dad and the 2 kids, it was kind of interesting, but you really don't know. And I would suggest you maybe put that clip of that commercial on your Actors Access or something, just so they can see you and just, who knows? At least they'll call you in through Lydia. Don't worry about the kids.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, let's see. There was a question in the chat, but she has her hand up, so I'm going to let her ask it when it gets to just a second. Gary, did you have a question? Because you were next, actually.
I was going to close it out, so go ahead and do the other question.
Oh, okay. We had a question for Lydia. You do submit folks to theater. What happens if you have somebody who isn't honoring their contract and they don't get paid? How would you address that?
The theater that I submit to is usually like, off Broadway, equity theaters. I don't normally do smaller houses that I have to worry about whether or not they're gonna pay my actors, because usually the professional houses, I receive my commission from the theater itself, so it's set up differently that way. I submit on cruise ships, I submit on national tours. I have a little girl in Les Mis right now that's touring the country, so she, there's work, but I don't do the ones that I have to worry about getting paid.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Thank you. Judy has her hand up, but it's for Will. He couldn't get his hand up to work on his device. So Will, do you have a question?
You're muted, Will.
Okay, thank you for being patient with me. I've been acting for about like 10 years and I've been booking a lot, but I feel like I'm ready for an agent. And how do I go about that to be able to get an agent to represent with the full resume that I have?
Definitely do your research, find, a few agencies that you're interested in, get your materials ready, your headshot, your resume, if you have a demo reel or sample clips from the work that you've done, and submit.
And how long the demo reel can be? What's the longest it can be? What's the shortest it should be?
I usually say 3 minutes and under, unless you have an extensive resume that you want to do a longer cut, like maybe up to 5 minutes, but really 3 minutes and under. They stop watching after the first minute if it's not capturing their attention anyway. So as long as you put your strong work up front and your most recognizable or your most professional work up front, and then, fill up your time with that.
Absolutely. If you have done any recognizable movies or TV shows, put that as a separate clip, like Walker, Tulsa King, 1883. Don't blend that in with edited into a bigger demo reel. Always put those clips separately. I ask that my actors only merge their clips together for comedy and drama if they're unrecognizable projects like student films, independent films that maybe, might never be seen or distributed. Make sure we only accept email submissions. So we'd like to see a headshot, resume, and a demo reel. If you have an Actors Access account, you can usually just send that link with all of the demos on it. But yes, absolutely. I don't want to see full scenes unless they're short scenes. And I want the scene to always, on the demo reel, always start out with you, even if it's in the middle of a scene. We don't need to be looking for you in the scene. We want to know that that's you. And just make sure it's good quality work. It doesn't have to be, a known project, but just make sure that it is showing. I like the clips. I've got actors with sometimes 50 clips, but they've also got what's called a speed reel, to where it's their very best work on 1 or 2 minutes. So 1 minute comedy or 1 minute drama. And then they've got, NCIS and Grey's Anatomy and Walker and Dallas and Tulsa King and 1883 and Bass Reeves. And, but they've got those on separate clips.
And I'll also say to submit a recent self-taped audition, just so they can see the quality of your setup, because that's something I always ask. Even after I see a demo reel, I want to see what your self-tapes are going to look like if I decide to bring you on.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Both of y'all, thank you. Wow, okay.
Okay, we have 2 more hands up and then we're gonna have to cut off the questions. Joella, go ahead. You had a question in the chat earlier.
The question in the chat's a little bit different. That's just something I heard from watching an award show that in Mansfield, Texas, there'll be a production company coming soon. So that's like a 2-year out foreshadow of implemented economic development. But my question is I attend a lot of movie premieres. So Women in Film Dallas allows me to do that. And as an actor who does not have an Instagram page, should I go on social media, Facebook platform, and maybe do my comments about what I've just seen? What do you think about that? Because technically we're getting an inside look, and I'm not a movie critic writer before premiering the actual day of when it goes out.
Oh, so you mean opening social media just to do movie critiques?
Yes.
Oh, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's fun. I would try to stay as positive. I think a lot of actors have gotten a little concerned about social media, and you really need to be careful on social media. Please stay away from, any controversial issues. Everybody has their freedom of speech, that no one should have that taken away at all. But I would stay away from the controversial issues of politics and religion, sexual orientation, unless it's in a positive way. There's so much hate mongering and negativity on social media. And some of my actors have said, do I really have to stay on this? And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm like, just post things when you've got positive things coming. Don't feel like you've got to post where you're having a coffee or breakfast, or post everything you eat. Now, let's use this. Let's go back to social media being an informational, being thought gathering, being a positive message to each other. It can be very, it's a great marketing tool for actors if it's used properly. I know a lot of times you'll see a casting site, and this kind of goes along with your movie critiquing too. You'll see a breakdown that comes through that says, we want social media influencers. I hate that. I cannot tell you how much I hate social media influencing as a job that's going to take away my actor, keep a job away from my actors. I don't hate the person. I just hate that that has been allowed to invade our industry when we're always told, be professional, take classes. And then a social media influencer, because they got 10 million followers. Well, yeah, all of a sudden an independent film that can't afford a real actor is going to put a social media influencer in there because they've got 10 million followers. Well, that 10 million followers are probably not going to see this person on some independent film just because I don't follow everybody that I'm following. I have no time. I'm doing good to post anything on my own social media. So make it worthy, have it meaty, have it something that can also promote you as an actor, because you're making comments about movies. And I wouldn't say, oh, this is a waste of my time. And I would just try to find something positive and say, oh, for those of you who like this kind of thing, it would be amazing. I find that is a much more creative and positive thing on critiquing anything, is find something that you might not have liked it, but find something you think somebody else would like if they like that in their genre. Does that make sense? I'm just so sad to see social media not used properly, and it definitely has hurt some actors. Absolutely, it's caused a blacklist. Absolutely. So use it in a very positive light, but I say use it for whatever you want, but keep it positive and keep it informative, and let's be kind to each other. We should respect our beliefs. And
Thank you so much for your response, Ms. Linda.
You're welcome.
Lydia, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I know we're going tight on time, so I just want to make sure the last person gets in before we hang up.
Yeah. I don't want to mispronounce your name. Azia?
Aja.
Aja.
Shout out Team Blanco. Lydia's Thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Actually, I'm going to be super quick. I just honestly wanted to know, when Linda was discussing volunteering for film events, is there some sort of newsletter or a page? I know you said you hate social media, but is there some sort of page that we can go on to kind of stay informed on any film or actor related events going on, so we can stay up to date on that?
Oh, no, and I don't hate social media. Oh, no, it's definitely a part of our society. I just don't like it when it's not used for positive things. So no, go on, follow the film festivals, sign up. I wouldn't drive across 3 states or fly across 3 states to do, you might want to fly in there and help with the Oscars or something, but South by Southwest, be a volunteer for a day or two, try to offer to transport celebrities or filmmakers or something to different areas. They're always looking for volunteers. Sometimes it's a paid thing. It's amazing how you can meet people and network just with those simple volunteer. My actors in LA are all over the map doing festivals, readings, stage, just helping even with interviews, doing podcasts, it's amazing. But no, I don't hate social media. I'm just saying be careful with it. But no, do it, use it as a research tool. But I would just contact the film festivals, just whatever you think you can do to encourage yourself to market, network yourself, and get to know people that way. I wouldn't carry around any headshots and resumes. Just as it comes up casually, then you can, mention,
right.
Are you a writer? Are you a filmmaker? Are you an actor?
Hey, take my card.
You can, business cards are great.
That used to be me as a model. I'd be like, hey, take my card. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda and Lydia. We appreciate y'all so much. for all the work that you've done for actors in Texas. Looking forward to seeing Lydia, your agency growing. That's great. And Linda sustaining and getting bigger, going to LA and just, yeah, we really appreciate what y'all do here. So thank you for being here and supporting our actors out here with some questions for you guys. Gary, take it away.
Thank you again. I'll repeat it exactly like Denise said to you ladies, both y'all, Lydia, Linda. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Michael, for being part of our new corps. You heard a lot about technique. I just wanted to mention a couple things. I'm 75. I've been playing music my whole life, and I don't have a very good voice. So I had to figure out a way to make my life work for me. At 33, I taught myself piano so I could play in piano bars and learn to be an entertainer. And I turned into a pretty good entertainer, crappy singer, good guitarist, fair piano player. It's all about confidence. It's all about believing you can pull it off. It's all about attitude. It's about persistence. It's about flexibility. It's about open-mindedness. And you, both you ladies, in fact, everybody was talking about relationships. That's the most important thing in life. It really is. And one of the most important relationships you'll ever have is with yourself. So love yourself, believe you can conquer, believe you can make it across the bridge, have faith. If you try 10 times and you don't get there, well, maybe try something else. But do believe in what you do. I had no experience acting at all in 2002. I lived in Europe all during the 90s. In 2002, I wanted to get into acting. Took some acting courses. I started working as an extra and a stand-in. I was helping Brooke Allen cast. Met a lot of people, even on a minimal level. The point is, get involved, learn, meet people, take chances, experiment, and believe in yourself. Because if you don't, nobody will. And thank you so much, all of you, for being with us tonight. In the chat, there's a link to the past mixers, so y'all be sure and check them out. Okay, everybody, we're going to close it out, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
everyone. This is
Thank
fun.
y'all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Have a good evening. God bless. And we'll see you next
Bye-bye,
month.
y'all.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night, y'all.